Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. A bit of a different video. I am sitting down rather than standing up and vlogging, which is what usually happens on this channel. If you are new, welcome. I am Ellie and I am mainly, I guess at the moment, a travel vlogger. For the past year, me and my boyfriend Finn have been travelling around. We started off in New Zealand on a working holiday visa, travelled the South Island of New Zealand, went to Fiji, went to Southeast Asia, and now we're back in New Zealand. Oh, and we did surprise our family as well along the way. So 1 year down, a little bit more to go. If you do want to check out any of my vlogs, they are all in a playlist down below. We went to Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Malaysia, Singapore, when we did the South Island of New Zealand, and we went to Fiji. So we did a lot, and there is so much more to come. We are back in New Zealand on another working holiday, and we are then going to Australia, to the East Coast, and travelling there. Make sure you subscribe down below, give this video a massive thumbs up, and this video today is about everything we spent in Southeast Asia and our costings, our budget. I think this is going to be a super helpful video for anyone that is looking to travel Southeast Asia in the next year, I guess. But yeah, apart from that, let's go with it. So as I said, this is going to be a video about everything we spent basically in Southeast Asia. Now, when I was looking, I did find it hard to find really realistic spending. Everyone's like, oh, it'll cost you £1,000 a month or everything like that, but I think it's a really unrealistic and hard thing to go by. So in our heads we were like, oh, it'll be about £1,000 a month, and that's what we had. But obviously it wasn't 100% £1,000 a month, it was higher most of the time. So to give it a perspective, me and Finn travelled to Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, Malaysia and Singapore for 90 days exactly. We did 3 months in Southeast Asia. Now, we were meant to go to Bali, but we decided to surprise our family and go home instead, as we hadn't seen them in 10 months. It's a really nice vlog if you want to check that out. So we did lots, obviously varied times. So I'm basically going to give you an idea of exactly how much we spent in 3 months. Now, this is for 2 people, so just bear in mind, so we did share things from accommodation to food to everything like that. So this will probably be more directed at couples, because we stayed in a lot of homestays and hotels rather than like dorm rooms. So just please bear that in mind, but this will give you a general idea of how much it costs for the both of us. I'm going to give you an idea. I'll show you what it costs us for each country as well, for the amount of time frame we were in there and an average cost per day. I basically worked it all out. But I will say the app that we used, which was the most helpful app ever, was called Travel Spend. I'm just going to show it to you now. It has this little, if you can see, it's this one here. It's called Travel Spend. If we go onto there, and it basically, you can list all of your costings every day. So every day when we were spending, I would just press on this plus, and it would basically give you, if it shows, like, if you can put it in for food or activities, how much you spent, and it will find your location and put it to the currency in that current location. So for example, like, I'm in New Zealand right now and it's come up with New Zealand dollars. It is the best app, one of the best apps we used for travel, so I really recommend that. So without further ado, let's go to how much it cost us to travel for 3 months. And it was painful, to be honest, to figure out exactly how much we spent, but overall, for 90 days in Southeast Asia, this isn't including any other travel, it cost us £8,397.65. And that is for 2 people. So per person, remember again, we did share a lot of things, it cost £4,198.83, give or take. So to give you an idea, per month, per person, we spent, literally just add 40p, £1,400. Now, I will be honest, there's some things we did like spend a little bit more on. For example, we went on a cruise in Hanoi, which wasn't cheap. We did do theme parks and everything like that, and we did do travel a little bit differently. We didn't do super budget travel, and we did do some flights over like some overnight bus travel options basically. So that gives you an idea. But also in terms of food though, we did do a massive mix of local and Western. I'd say, for example, in Vietnam we spent more money on local food, but in Malaysia we spent more money on Western food. So we did a massive mix of things. We did a lot of activities. We did a mix of, we stayed in, I think, one hostel, but mainly homestays and hotels, because the price for a private room was actually cheaper in homestays and hotels. But again, that might differ if you're on your own. But we didn't spend £1,000 a month, we spent £1,400 per person per month, but that is just us. But I'm going to give you a down low on what we cost us for restaurants, transport, accommodation, activities, groceries and other. So remember, this is for both of us, not just one person. So for both of us, all for the whole time we were there, in restaurants we spent £2,245.69. For transport we spent £2,123.43. For accommodation we spent £2,106.27. Activities we spent £1,220.02. Groceries cost £488.33, so that's like quick shops at 7-Eleven. And other, which includes shopping like gifts, laundry and anything like that, cost £220.08. So actually our most expensive thing was restaurants and food, then it was transport, and then accommodation, just to give you an idea. So now I'm going to give you a complete run through of every place we went to, how long we were there for, and how much it cost us and how much per day. So we were in North Thailand for 10 days. We went from Bangkok to Chiang Mai, then went to Chiang Rai, and then went over to Laos. So we spent 10 days overall. Overall, over those 10 days, we spent £787.18. For accommodation, and for the whole time in North Thailand we stayed in hotels, it cost us £187.57. For restaurants it cost us £153.39. I will say we definitely spent more money on markets, like the night market Chiang Mai, than going to like bigger restaurants. Transport cost us £171.01, and this included the overnight train from Bangkok to Chiang Mai. Groceries cost us £57.77. Activities cost £180.61. Now this included going to all the temples we wanted to do and the elephant sanctuary. Other things cost us £29.09, and laundry, which I think was good to kind of put in there as a separate thing, was £6.03. So that is everything we spent in North Thailand. So per day, on an average, in Northern Thailand for 10 days, it cost us £78.72 for per day as an average. So to give an idea of our budget, we didn't have a really tight, you have to do it by this budget. We basically were trying to do £30 per day per person, and we just, after a few weeks in, we realized how unrealistic this was. So we then actually decided to change that to a maximum of £40 a day per person, which actually was much more of a realistic goal for us and more where we stuck. A lot of people think that it would be really easy to do £30 per day after seeing these TikToks of people spending nothing, but realistically, to actually be able to do activities and everything, I think £40 per day per person is a bit more realistic, but also still quite hard. That's just give you an idea. But then we go on to Laos. We spent 8 days in Laos, and overall we spent £619.49. So on accommodation we spent £188.33. On restaurants we spent £208.69. On transportation we spent £104.09. Groceries cost us £31.21. Activities cost us £12.73. Other things cost £66.57 and laundry cost us £7.87. Now you can see a massive difference in here. Accommodation costs very similar. Restaurants was more expensive in Laos, and transportation, we didn't use as much transportation, we just used 2 trains. And obviously activities cost much less, but this was because we only went and we got a motorbike and just went to like the Kwangsi waterfalls, and we did those sort of activities rather than like massive things like going to the elephant sanctuary, which costs a lot more money. So per day it was an average of £77.44 as an average, which is slightly less than North Thailand, but just take into consideration we did less activities than we did in Northern Thailand. Then going on to Vietnam. I loved Vietnam, by the way. We spent 26 days in Vietnam. This was the longest place we stayed out of anywhere, and I'm so glad. I'll do another separate video on what we enjoyed and what we didn't in Southeast Asia, but Vietnam was honestly, I'm so glad we spent a long time there. So overall in Vietnam we spent £2,331.41. Now that's nearly a month, so we did actually spend divided by 2 is around 1,165, around that. So that is nearer the £1,000 mark. It was really good going in Vietnam. Vietnam we found actually was really cheap compared to most of the other places we went to. So 100% we spent less there. So to give you an example, so for accommodation we paid £367.88. Accommodation was super cheap, like the cheapest in anywhere in Southeast Asia we found. So that was over 26 days compared to like 8 days in Laos, which was £188. So we spent double for like triple the time basically. For restaurants it cost us £603.22. Transportation cost £649.88. That includes an overnight bus, trains and a couple of planes. Instead of the overnight buses we did choose to fly a couple of times just because we didn't want to do an overnight bus again. Groceries cost us £140.07. Activities cost us £543.32. Now keep in mind we did spend a lot of money on the Hanoi cruise. Again, that was a luxury we were going to spend on no matter what basically. And we did go to the Barna Hills and we did go to Vin Wonders, so we did quite a lot in Vietnam. Other things cost us £15.01 and laundry cost us £12.03. Now laundry again was quite cheap, but we were there for longer, that's why obviously the expense is more. So on an average per day we spent £89.67. Now again, keep in mind it's the activities which brought the price up basically, and the transportation. We did things, a lot of extra activities, but also we did spend more on transportation than we probably could have. It would be very easy to bring that cost down by going on more buses and everything like that. That's why the cost is much higher per day. It is so feasible to do that lower. As you can see, the cost over 26 days was really good. So Vietnam is very budget friendly basically. Now going on to Cambodia. Cambodia, we spent a week there, and in a week we spent overall £612.23. Now this is quite high for the week. We did find Cambodia probably more expensive than most of the other countries we've been to previously. But again, we did spend a bit more on activities like Angkor Wat, again, so keep that in mind, and accommodation was definitely a little bit more expensive. So accommodation cost us £147.13, restaurants cost us £208.11, transport cost us £56.57. Now this included a bus from Phnom Penh to Siem Reap, but also you could get a lot more like Grab tuk-tuks, which was so much cheaper. So instead of paying more money for like a Grab car, Grab tuk-tuks cost so much less, so we managed to get around like Siem Reap really easily. Activities cost us £137.06, and we did take a private tour around Angkor Wat. Other things cost us £7.08, and we did buy a lot of souvenirs. We bought things like a few prints, chopsticks. We bought quite a few things, and they were really cheap actually in Cambodia, and they were all like Cambodian made. Laundry cost us £4.70, and overall per day on average it cost us £87.46 on average. So again, a little bit more expensive per day than we would have wanted, but we did pay more for activities than like doing a group tour basically, but we chose to do that and spend that extra bit of money, and it was so worth it. Now going on to South Thailand, we spent 27 days in South Thailand. I said we spent most time in Vietnam, I think in one go, but in Thailand we did spend like 5 weeks, I think, maybe more than that, nearly 6 weeks in Thailand overall. So overall in South Thailand, over 27 days, we paid £2,191.10, which is really good going. That is about £1,050 for nearly the month. So South Thailand was actually really good for us spending wise. So for accommodation we spent £647.51. Restaurants cost us £618.05, and that was a good mix, but I think we mainly ate local. We found a lot of good food like Penang curry, Massaman curry. We ate a lot of noodles and rice. We tried to eat a lot of Thai food. Transport cost us £588.18. This included all the ferries, all the buses, and I think we took one flight from Bangkok to Surat Thani. Groceries cost us £148.69, and I will stress actually we spent quite a lot at 7-Eleven. Like we spent quite a lot there. In Thailand, 7-Eleven is super cheap, it's incredible. Activities cost us £174.31, and that included like quite a lot. It included the snorkeling tours, the boat tours. We did quite a lot in South Thailand, and even like the water park, so that's really good going. And remember, this is for both of us as well. Other things cost us 69p, and laundry cost us £13.67. So overall in South Thailand per day it cost us £81.15, and this is much more on budget to the £80 per day. Thailand was a really good spending, like a really good budget place for us actually. Now going on to Malaysia, we spent 11 days in Malaysia, so overall we spent £930.23. We did find Malaysia a little bit more expensive, especially on food. There wasn't a lot of, we couldn't find a lot of local food, so we did end up going to like Nando's and like Pizza Hut, because that was what was readily available. There wasn't any places we could find on Google Maps or any recommendations of Malaysian food, unfortunately. So accommodation cost us £309.01. Restaurants cost us £328.14. Transportation cost us £179.80. Groceries cost us £48.73. Activities cost us £62.83. And other things cost us £1.72. We had a bit of a laundry mishap, and we got our laundry for free basically in Malaysia, because we only did it once. And transport actually included, we flew to each place, so that included like 3 flights, which is really good. And overall that was £84.56 on average per day. So again, not too bad, a little bit cheaper than Cambodia, but still just a little bit over budget. Now Singapore obviously is expensive. Very expensive. That is why we only spent 2 days there. So overall in 2 days we spent £621.70. We always knew this was going to be expensive, and this is why our overall average per day went from like pretty good to up here basically. So accommodation cost us £200.01. We found a really good Ibis, which was £100 a night, which is really good for Singapore really. Restaurants cost us £179.88, which was pretty expensive. Transport £81.80. We mainly used the metro. Groceries cost us £11.48. Activities £95, and that included going to Universal Studios. Other things cost us £53.53. And overall in Singapore per day on average we sorry guys, so my battery ran out, but I'm going to carry this on now. It's actually a few days later. So overall in Singapore we spent per day £310.85. That was our average spend for 2 days. Singapore is expensive. Like, you could probably spend way more on accommodation, which is more centrally located. So accommodation can be really expensive. Food is just expensive. On our second day we did get like a food like market rice thing, which was much cheaper, but again, we went to Universal Studios and food isn't cheap. We also went to Marina Bay Sands and we did have like a restaurant meal, which is expensive. So I'm so glad we went to Singapore, and we probably would go again, but it is expensive. I don't regret us going to Universal Studios though at all. We really had a good time, and it was like our last day in Asia, so we just wanted to make kind of the most of it. So that is everything we spent in Southeast Asia. As I say, we spent 90 days, we spent £8,397.65. So our average day altogether per day was £93.31. That is for both of us, so per person that would be £46.65. We kind of aim for £40 per person per day. The reason why this is absolutely skyrocketed is because of Singapore. If we take away Singapore, I will tell you what our average per day is, because I think that will give a better kind of a more realistic per day spend. So take away Singapore, and I took away the 2 days, so for 88 days, so taking away Singapore, it would have been £88.36 for both of us, or £44.18 per person per day. So it is a little bit cheaper, still over budget, but this is more of a realistic video to show you guys that you need to kind of over budget. I think for Southeast Asia, we had taken advice basically about maybe £1,000 a month and everything like that. That's fine if you're going to go super budget and if you're going to be in dorm rooms and everything like that, but we weren't super budget and we did overspend. We had the money too, but we spent more than we expected to basically. So hopefully this gives you guys an idea of how much Southeast Asia can cost on kind of a mixed budget. I guess we did some things budget, some things not, and we just had an amazing time at the end of the day, and no matter how much it costs, we will always have that experience with us, so we will never ever regret anything we did. And I really recommend going and traveling and seeing the world. And yeah, I mean, we're still on our journey of, you know, exploring, and we're back in New Zealand and we're still going to Australia, so I would do all the same things for Australia as well, because I think these videos are really helpful. These are the sort of videos that I was looking for when we were looking at traveling. But yeah, apart from that, thank you guys for watching. If you have watched all the way to the end, make sure you give this video a massive thumbs up, and also subscribe down below for more videos like this, and comment if you would like to see any other videos like this, anything to do with New Zealand, anything like that. Comment down below. Apart from that, I will see you next time. Bye guys.